Hey everyone, welcome back to another vlog episode. Today is a Sunday in late April and it's a very rainy Sunday. It's been raining all week and forecasted to be raining all of next week as well. So I'm not complaining, it's at least somewhat warm outside and my plants are loving it. So I'll be thankful for that later in the summer when everything is in full bloom. But today is just kind of a cozy, relaxing day at home. I have some knitting to do and some things around the house, and I may or may not run out to my local yarn store. I have to return some yarn, so I figured I would take you guys along for that. I am working on my moonset tee. This pattern is by Ozetta and I'm very close to being done. I just finished the first sleeve yesterday and now I'm currently on the I-cord bind off of the second, so really nearing the end here. I am knitting this in Juniper Moon Farms Organic Merino, which is technically a DK weight yarn. This pattern does call for fingering weight yarn, so I did a little bit of math in terms of gauge and sizing. This is technically the medium size, and I'm a little worried that it's gonna be too oversized and too big. This really does need a good block, which I'm hoping to get to that today. And yeah, you can see that it's really rolling up down here, but it's been an enjoyable knit and I'm glad to be finishing it off. In terms of I-cord binding, I actually use a much smaller needle size to do the I-cord bind off. I just find that using the needle that you've been knitting stockinette with leads to a pretty loose bind off. Maybe that's just me knitting, but yeah, I sized down almost 3 needle sizes I'm doing for this bind off, and so far it seems to be working well. I kind of like the degree of, it tapers a little bit at the end here. So we'll have to see once it is all blocked. Alrighty, all done, off the needles. That is always such a great feeling. I'm gonna go ahead and weave in all my ends. I keep all my little needles and stitch markers in this little plastic case. I think at some point there were dental flossers in there. It's like a little travel pack. Alrighty, I'm gonna go ahead and weave in all my ends and then probably go ahead and block this. So the I-cord is not really laying flat, so I'm definitely gonna have to pin that into place. And I use these knit blockers from Knitter's Pride. I really love them because there's 2 different sizes. There's like a big one like this and then smaller ones. And so you can really kind of mix and match pending what you really need to block a garment. So I do think I really need to pin a lot around the I-cord so that lays flat, but I can already tell that this yarn is really going to bloom nicely, so I'm excited to see how it turns out and really happy that it is finally off my needles and on the blocking mats. So I've been dying to make some muffins. I don't know why I'm craving muffins, but I found a recipe for a healthier banana chocolate chip protein muffin that is pretty low in sugar. So I'm gonna go ahead and give that a try. It's pretty standard. It has like almond flour, oats, and honey is the sweetener. So I do love to bake, but I try to bake at least healthier options if I can. And there are chocolate chips in here which will sweeten things up. So these muffins are definitely turning into like whatever is in my pantry recipe. I didn't have eggs. The recipe didn't even call for peanut butter, and I really wanted peanut butter, so I just threw those in. I didn't have enough honey, so I substituted some like stevia sweetener. So we'll see how they turn out. Either way, I think they're gonna be good. And so let's get them in the oven. My husband just came home with some beautiful flowers from the nursery and some lunch. Look at those. Look at how pretty those are. Alrighty, so I just got to my local yarn store. It's called Rosemary's, and it is run by a lovely woman named Rosemary and her husband, and it's conveniently only like 5 to 10 minutes away from my house, so I'm really lucky. And I'm just going to return some yarn. I more or less changed my mind on what I want to work with for my next project, and hopefully I can take you through the shop. So I just got back from Rosemary's and I got 2 skeins of yarn. They're right here. These are both by Barocco. Both Ultra Alpaca is their worsted weight line. And I bought these, I didn't have any yarn or brown yarn in my stash, and I bought these for a specific project. I'm going to cast this on today. This is called Good Bear by Susan B. Anderson, and it's this little tiny like stuffed bear. I have a couple friends who have new babies and thought a little bear would be a perfect baby gift to send. So I'm gonna wind up some yarn and cast that on. So here's a little update on the blocking process of my moonset tee. It dried pretty quickly because I had a fan on it for most of the day, and now I'm just letting it hang and kind of hang to gravity a little bit to give it a little bit more drape, and hopefully it'll be dry in the next couple days. Really happy with how it turned out. It's nice and drapey. The I-cord edging is really pretty on the bottom and is laying flat, so that's really nice. And I'm excited to give it a first try on. In terms of knitting my little bear, I have the legs now attached and I'm working on the body. This will take me a little bit just because it's sort of a smaller, tedious project where I really have to be looking at the stitch counts, but enjoying it so far. The pattern is very nicely written, it's easy to follow, and there's even some video tutorials included in the pattern, so highly recommend. So yeah, thank you so much for sticking around today and spending the day with me, and as always, happy knitting. Catch you next time. Bye.